Hey, I'm Makaila.
And I'm Nick.
And this is a completely legitimate movie podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special episode of a completely legitimate movie podcast. This is Nick and Makaila here. We have a special episode this week. We have my friend Jake joining us.
Say hi.
Let's say some people might be audio only. They can't see you
That's
waving.
true. The spirit fingers don't travel through audio, so.
No, not quite. Today we'll be reviewing the movie Pootie Tang, and I guess before we get into it, Jake, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then you said you had a story about how you found out this was my favorite movie.
Yeah, it's not a surprise to me that I would be chosen for a guest on this particular episode, because when Nick and I started hanging out, people know when they have friends that, like, you're just starting to get to know, you kind of make certain assumptions, not in a bad way, but like, you're like, okay, like, I think I know what you're into and what kinds of movies and music you're into and whatever. And one night at karaoke, which we do quite often, I mentioned something about either a favorite song of mine or a favorite movie. And you were like, oh, like, do you know what my favorite movie is? I'm like, no, you haven't told me. And I'm getting ready for like Star Wars or like Lord of the Rings or something, i.e. And then I get dropped with Pootie Tang. And it's just one of those events in your life that just totally reshapes the way you view life. And it was quite amazing.
And the fact that our friendship survived and has survived for 10 plus years is just...
It's one of those things that I think made it stronger.
Yeah.
I felt like I could trust you more. I don't
Yeah,
know why,
it was it was a hill that had to be overcome, but so let's dive in here. Kayla, you did some research.
I sure did not. I did. This is all you.
This is research we did in the last 10 minutes.
The week got away from us, so yeah, I didn't do this. This is you.
Well, you did some of it.
What did I do? I typed.
So the basic one-sentence plot of Pootie Tang is that an urban hero goes on a quest to save Chicago from corporate America. Yes, all of corporate America. It's represented by one person in this movie. It was released on June 20, 2001.
Your own screen.
Well, I should look on my own screen. I don't know why I'm looking on your screen. June 29th, 2001, although my note says 2021, and that's not right. It was directed by Louis C.K. before he got in a bunch of trouble.
And
it stars Lance Crothers as Pootie Tang, Chris Rock as multiple different characters, but most notably Daddy Tang, J.B. Smoove as Truckee, Jennifer Coolidge as Irene, Wanda Sykes as Biggie Shorty, and there's a few small cameo roles by Kristen Bell and David Cross.
And others.
And others. There's a lot of people in this movie, actually. It does not have the award history it deserves. On its IMDb page, the only award this has is it was nominated for a Stinker Award for most painfully unfunny comedy, and that is a shame because this is the funniest comedy. There's nothing tops it. Nothing will ever top it.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, whenever you would bring up Pootie Tang around Nick, it would be just a staunch defense followed by some quotes. And yeah. And I don't know. Personally, I feel like this is a movie that is in like the idiocracy category of like a movie that kind of foretold about where our actual society was going.
Yeah, I wish there was someone who could save us from corporate America right now.
If anybody could.
I would love a Pootie Tang.
Well, our era just needs its Pootie Tang.
It does. That's what the timeline's missing. All right, let's dive in here. The movie opens up with Pootie Tang himself, and we get the framing device for the whole movie is that he's being interviewed by late night talk show host Bob Costas, who's asking Pootie about his upcoming movie. And this is the first time we hear Pootie talk in his signature gibberish. He says a bunch of complete nonsense and then introduces that his movie's called Sign Your Pity on the Runny Kind. And Bob's like, oh, you have a clip. And Pootie's like, yeah. And they're like, all right, let's watch this clip for Pootie Tang's new movie. Proceeds to play the whole movie. We get a monologue about it being 2001. The inner city of Chicago is dying because corporate America is ruining it. And this is, of course, being narrated by Pootie Tang's best friend, Truckee, who assures us that the people have hope because the people have Pootie Tang, which is it's just very silly way to introduce the movie. And every time a new character is shown, they get like this splash page image, and it shows this like shriveled old white man with a cigar, and it's like, this is Dick Lecter, head of corporate America, and he's killing Chicago. It's like they just chose the most stereotypical dude to be like this corporate CEO. It's great. So before the opening credits and theme song, we kind of just get this establishing scene of what kind of movie this is as we come up to a drug deal. We are introduced to Bad Biddy, the baddest drug dealer in town, and he is waiting for Dirty D, who rolls up with his signature theme song and a car that's just absolutely covered in filth. It looks like someone took a dump truck of dirt and dumped it on the car. And
yes,
he opens a briefcase full of dirty money, which also looks filthy.
It's literally dirty.
It's literally dirty because he's Dirty D. In exchange for Bad Biddy's
the tongue twister.
It is. In exchange for Bad Biddy's briefcase of clean drugs, to which Dirty D asks, well, how do we know if they're any good? And a little kid just rides up on a bicycle, of course, with like stupid music playing.
Whose
like
name
an ice
is
cream truck
literally
music.
the little kid.
Yeah, it's just they needed a little kid. So they try and get this little kid to take drugs. And why this little kid rode his bike through like all these cars and these people who are very clearly up to no good is just like, oh, this is the dumbest kid in town. But who saves the day? Who stops these drug dealers? Pootie Tang, who drives his car through a conspicuous wall of boxes that was just behind everyone in the shot, and it draws your attention immediately. Like, why is there a wall of boxes here? He gets out of the car and dances first before he stops the drug deal.
I mean, as anyone would.
Yeah, he has to dance for about 30 seconds. And once he's done dancing, everyone's like, oh god, it's Pootie Tang, fire! They all take out guns. They start firing at Pootie Tang. He hits more dance moves to dodge them in slow motion in a very bad parody of The Matrix.
I was going to say, you could definitely tell this came out around The Matrix time.
Right, I can't believe The Matrix ripped off Pootie Tang.
And it was kind of, I think, doing a little satire of Shaft and his sequences.
Yeah, that's true. I think this whole movie is just kind of a parody of Shaft and that type of movie. And at one point, Pootie Tang swings his ponytail and hits a bullet back at the camera, and it's just the silliest thing. And eventually, everyone runs out of bullets, just unable to hit him. They're just useless. So they try and fight him. It's no good. Pootie beats them all up with some martial arts. He takes off his belt, his signature belt with the most hideous belt buckle I've ever seen in my life. And we get whip sound effects from Indiana Jones as he whips people with it. It's fantastic.
Wonder Woman wishes she was this cool.
Yeah, her lasso got nothing on Pootie Tang's belt. Dirty D is the only one who tries to get away. He steps on one of his cronies who like grunts. He's like, shut up. He gets in his car, drives away. Pootie Tang chases the car, jumps on the car, and starts choking Dirty D with his belt, and like uses his belt to make Dirty D steer the car into a car wash.
Yeah, he's got to get clean.
And Dirty D is screaming bloody murder, and the car emerges from the car wash spotless, and so does Dirty D on the hood of the car, now just like white and clean and shiny in his like white fluffy coat. And
yeah,
and he's miserable.
Made him clean up his act.
His whole identity is gone.
What was that?
Said his whole identity is gone.
It is. His whole identity is being Dirty D. We'll learn more about that later. We get an opening musical number from what kind of looks like a Great Value Salt and Pepper. They sing about that Pootie Tang for 3 minutes, and we get a little backstory. We get the Pootie Tang lore.
Yeah, he was born in a small town outside of Gary, Indiana, Chicago, which is really funny because I don't know if you knew this or not, but Michael Jackson is from Gary, Indiana. So it was kind of funny that they like took this big like star and they were like, oh, small town outside of Gary, Indiana. know?
but
But it's like,
it's just Chicago. Yeah. And we get the explanation that from the day he was born, everyone noticed something different about Pootie Tang. You never knew what he was saying, but you always knew what he meant. And scientists conclude that he is too cool for words. Officially, scientifically, it's peer reviewed. Even as a child, he was breaking hearts. He just had a way with the ladies. And we get this scene of like a stereotypical ugly breakup where a woman is throwing things out of the window, but Pootie Tang like looks like he's 6.
Yeah.
So she's throwing toys out the door. Like, you think I'm playing Pootie Tang? You ain't shit. And she at one
like
point
his stuffies, his tricycle.
The trike was the best because it barely fit through the window.
Right, the trike was the big last thing where she's like, "Oh, you think I'm playing?" And then as she throws it, she starts sobbing and says, "Oh, Pootie, don't go."
The way that this would never get made if it had like
Right, there's a lot of
would
implications.
be-
We get more explanation about Pootie Tang's home life. The belt originally belonged to his dad, Daddy Tang, who was played by Chris Rock, the first of Chris Rock's many characters. Essentially, Daddy Tang would always whoop his ass with the belt to teach him right from wrong. We find even when he was physically there, if he thought about doing wrong, you'd hear the whiplash and the belt flash across the screen, and Chris Rock would be nowhere in sight. We also meet Mama Tang, who loves her son dearly and just wants him to be this bright young man that she knows he is.
And spreads his love to everybody.
Yes, you know, he has a lot of love and she encourages that. Unfortunately, Mama Tang dies, leaving Pootie alone with Daddy Tang for about 30 seconds, because then we cut to Daddy Tang's death as he's mauled to death by a gorilla at the steel mill.
Yeah.
Which is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Which apparently happens a lot at that mill, because it was either the 3rd or 4th time.
Yeah.
Like in the last couple months, they said.
Yeah, they said it was only the 3rd time, I think. And we watched the mauling. It's horrific. I mean, don't let your children watch. And a coworker is standing right next to this happening, doesn't care. Terrible. Daddy Tang on his deathbed gives Pootie a few last words, makes Pootie promise to be good, and gives him the belt. Don't let the ladies become...
No, he physically gives him the belt. He doesn't beat him. Like,
yeah,
hands get over here so I can...
One last beating for the road. No, as long as Pootie Tang has right on his side, he can whip anyone's ass with just that belt. Just don't let the ladies come between you and the belt. And those are his last words. We cut to the present day, and Pootie is a success. Movie star, records, famous friends. We see Pootie Tang on the red carpet with all these actors. We're introduced to the narrator, whose name is Truckee. He's been Pootie's best friend since childhood, and JB Smoove, the actor, has now been doing this voice his whole career.
Absolutely. When you had me watch this, when
he was on Saturday Night Live too.
Was he?
Yep.
What?
Oh, he was on Saturday Night Live too, apparently.
The actor of Truckee.
Okay. No, I just remember, like, when I first watched this, I literally was pointing at the screen like, that's the guy from We Bought a Zoo! And you were like, what? Like, he plays the realtor!
Yeah, JB.
That was the voice, was
that what he sounds like when he's just talking normally, or is that like his persona? Like the way Shaggy sounds different when he sings and when he talks?
I have never seen him off.
It's just a little more exaggerated.
What was that?
It's like just a little more exaggerated from his like normal voice.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we see that Pootie is so successful, he has his own like anti-drug dare ad campaign where he tells kids to stay in school, eat healthy, don't drink malt liquor.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at your notes. And it boosts.
Yes, he was very Canadian. Cares about. He cares about his community, and the ads work because corporate America is watching one of these in their boardroom. Some random workers like, well, people have been making these ads for years. It never affected business before, but Dave Attell, who plays Frank, Dick Lecter's right-hand man, says, well, this is killing us. Someone's finally getting to these kids. And that's when Dick Lecter calls Frank on the phone and says, hey, I have a job for you. And we don't learn what it is right away, but we find out in the next scene. We see JB, Lacey, and Truckee, and JB is another one of Pootie Tang's friends who is played by Chris Rock, just wearing a hat, and there's no connection. No one ever points out like, God, you look like Pootie's dad. It's just played completely straight.
That's what makes it funny. But it also,
What?
it takes the sting off of it, because we're
Oh,
still
yeah.
reeling. We're still reeling from the loss of Mama and Daddy Tang. So to see him back, it makes it a little better.
Yeah, he's with us in spirit. They're basically, these three friends are hanging out on the street, glazing Pootie Tang, just talking him up, and Pootie joins them. They're just having a good time. And Truckee asks, "Hey man, you going to Biggie Shorty's party?" And then the narration's like, "You're probably wondering who Biggie Shorty," because it's a new name we haven't heard yet. We can't.
We made the same note.
We did. We made the same note.
That's wonderful.
Tell us about Biggie Shorty really quick.
No, I basically said, like, my note just says Cardi B, and I will not expand further on that other than I love Cardi B. So it's not an insult coming from me, but just picture Cardi B and you have Biggie Shorty.
Wanda Sykes as Cardi B.
Yes.
Biggie Shorty.
Yes.
Yeah, she is dancing like just ridiculously. She gives a little blurb to the camera that one day she's gonna marry Pootie Tang when he's ready to settle down. So she kind of just establishes herself as like, I'm the fucking love interest.
Yeah.
Even though he doesn't know it yet.
We cut back to Pootie and friends, and Chris Rock is hyping up the party, and he's like, "There's gonna be some bitches there," and Pootie slaps him because you don't disrespect women around Pootie Tang. Good. Pootie takes his respect women juice. Does. Frank from corporate America rolls up in a limo and offers Pootie a contract to sell out, essentially. It's to endorse just this one product, a tasty heavy pork chunk cereal.
Yeah, just the nastiest thing ever.
The grossest sounding cereal other than like Frosted Flakes.
Frosted Flakes are delicious.
I don't like Frosted
Flakes. I say Smacks. It's the Smacks cereal.
The Smacks are okay.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I got to eat some Smack.
He knows Sugar Smacks.
I used to get the General Mills. Any kid from the 90s knows this. The little.
Oh yeah, you guys are using the name brand. That's not fucking registering with me.
Yeah, it would be like Smackers or something.
I got the little like Malto meal bag growing up, or it was like from Save-A-Lot.
There was Honey Smacks, Sugar Crisp with the bear.
Frog comes from? Oh my god, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cookie Crisp.
I'm caught up now.
Except I never got to eat Cookie Crisp.
Hey, I don't like Cookie Crisp. Anyway, so basically his friends, Pootie's friends, look through this contract and be like, "You're full of shit. This contract says he can't make any more of these ads, and he also has to hawk your whiskey and cigarettes and switchblades," which I just love that this company just makes everything stereotypically bad. Like they make fast. American. Yeah, I know. It's like they don't make any good product. It's all whiskey and cigarettes and switchblades. So Pootie puts his arm around Frank, says, "That's a can of pan for the Simichow. I got to say Nanado, Wadata." Frank's like, "Wadata? How do you say Wadata to 50 million or whatever the amount is?" And says that the kids are just dollar signs, to which Pootie hits him in the face with his belt at lightning speeds. And Frank recoils to the limo and drives away, and Pootie and his friends are just walking along laughing at what happened because they've won the day for now. Frank crawls back to Dick Lecter in his big office, complaining about what happened, and while they're talking, you just see Jennifer Coolidge sprawled out on a couch in the middle of the room for no reason.
You know what? I'm wondering, is this when she was this Stifler's mom?
This was
Stifler's
mom.
So that's why no explanation needed. That's why.
And this is 2 years after the first American Pie came out.
Oh, when did the first American Pie come out?
It was 99.
It was 99, so yeah. Right? Like just only a couple of years before. So they probably were filming around the same time.
Yeah, that's prime. She was just kind of known for this type of character. I mean, she still kind of is.
So she kind of typecasted herself in that for a long time.
Yeah, a long time, which is fine.
She knows what works.
She knows her
She was on Schitt's Creek too, and it was her role in Schitt's Creek was pretty funny.
Yeah, she was really good in Schitt's Creek.
Who?
Jennifer Coolidge.
Jennifer Coolidge isn't in Schitt's Creek, is she? What the fuck?
Who did she play in Schitt's Creek?
It's she plays one of the lawyers, friends of the dad in the first season.
Yeah, we haven't watched that show in a while.
Yeah, Yeah, I only focused on David.
I could be mixing it up with another show or something.
Apologies to Jennifer Coolidge if we have gotten something wrong on your illustrious career.
We'll hear about it in the comments for sure.
Yes. So she is introduced as Dick Lecter's main squeeze. She's kind of established as the Bond girl of the movie, the honey trap. Dick Lecter's like, well, sick 'em, Irene. We cut to Pootie Tang producing his next hit song. We see him messing with audio levels in a recording studio until everything is silent. He goes into the recording booth himself and has them start recording, and he just vogues at the microphone.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, he does hand motions, he makes faces, he smolders at the microphone.
Yeah.
But again, complete silence.
Yeah.
And
he's giving it everything he's got, but you can't hear it.
yeah, and everyone loves it. It is a hit song. We see Chris Rock as a radio DJ just wearing a wig and sunglasses play the song, and we see people listening to it on the radio with varying different reactions. We see a man running like a hot dog stand, crumping super fast to it.
Yeah, and oh my god, there's this kid listening to it on the radio, and it's like, of course, like the stereotype, like the like nerdy Asian kid, but I just love, like, I was cackling when the dad just burst into his room and is like, turn that down. Nothing. There's no sound. It was just so good.
Yeah. So this leads to the spoils of his success. Pootie rolls up to a nightclub that he owns, apparently. And who's playing at Pootie's club? Missy Elliott. He just has Missy Elliott on retainer. Jake, if you had a club, who would you have on retainer for your club?
Oh, man. Can it only be people that are alive?
No, you know what? For funsies, let's just say anybody.
I'd say Jonathan Cole.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I don't know. Who would you have?
Jack White.
No,
just roll into your club, sing with Jack White.
Jack White could just sit in a corner and I would be like, beautiful. Just like
right on.
Play a fucking harmonica. I don't know. It would be like the most beautiful sound in the world.
And he's from Michigan too, so shout out Jack White.
Yes.
Yeah. I think
we should do some Jack White at karaoke this week.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll do some Jack White. I would have Jack Black, and we could put them together and make Jack Gray.
That's actually a joke.
I know, I'm not original.
No, that's fine. Speaking of which, random like little thing, I follow him on Instagram. He apparently got some of Jack Black's mail. He's like, I think some wires got crossed somewhere.
That's really funny.
Yeah. Anyway, we're talking about Pootie Tang, not Jack White.
Pootie and Missy Elliott sing a song together, by which I mean Missy Elliott sings very seriously, crooning, while Pootie Tang gibberishes back at her. He retires to his apartment in the basement of the club. A groupie is clinging to him.
The whole time.
I'm sorry, what?
The whole time, from the time he walks out of the door of the club all the way down to his door, she is just on it.
Will not let go to.
Right, screaming and kissing him. Like, if she's not kissing him, she's screaming. He stops her at the door, puts a finger to her lip,
puts a lip to the finger and says, "Hey."
Yeah, it's very seductive. And then he slips into his apartment and slams the door.
Yeah.
The narrator's like, well, of course he did that. She's crazy. And then
he leaves her out a saucer of milk.
Right, like a cat, and she drinks out of it.
Yep. I felt seen.
Because you were the kid who pretended to be a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aw. Yeah. So that scene is so random. There's so many scenes in here that don't come up again, that just aren't important, and they just chain them together to make a tapestry. That's what Pootie Tang is. It is a tapestry of 2001 culture. All right, I'll stop glazing it. I'll keep going.
And no, it's very a movie of the times.
Yes, I think it really captures the essence of of 2001 right up until that event that happens in September.
Oh, yeah.
9/11 never.
Oh, yeah, because like when people get introduced, it's kind of like done in like the real world introduction thing where like they'd have like a crazy backdrop or like a green screen behind them and then different cuts and they're all like doing their like little personality shit, giving a couple quips and then goes back.
Yeah. No, it's very of the times. We see Pootie Tang talk to Biggie Shorty, hyping up her party tomorrow. Biggie Shorty,
as we should know,
one
thing real quick.
Sure.
For the part where we're at, I'm sorry. Because like how I said, it's kind of like in the idiocracy category of like foretelling things, and how we were just on the scene of where he makes the song where it's literally nothing. I think that kind of foreshadows how a lot of artists started to, like, you know, a few years after that, just like put out garbage because they knew they could do whatever they want and people are just still going to buy it. So I think that's kind of a little foreshadowing.
Pootie Tang foretold mumble rap.
Yeah. And the down years of Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne watched Pootie Tang, was like, this motherfucker spitting.
Yep.
Are we not Lil Wayne fans?
We are.
Okay.
That's a conversation for another
I mean, I don't necessarily know how I feel about him as a person, but I like his music. My bad.
It's all right. Well, we see Pootie talk to Biggie Shorty, who is dancing on a street corner, as she always is. She's always introduced dancing on a street corner, hyping up her party tomorrow, and he leaves, and two super gross old men roll up in a car, mistake Biggie Shorty for a hooker because she is dancing on a corner near some sex workers, as she punches them and says, "I'm a lady, you greasy bastard," and that's the scene. Again, this could have been cut.
She's
it does
like, well,
nothing for.
Can a girl dance next to some hookers and not be considered one?
Right. Yeah. And the guy's like, well, wouldn't you make this mistake? And she punches him again. We cut to Biggie Shorty's party, and we follow Truckee as he is dancing with a girl, dancing too hard. She eventually is like, this guy's fucking weird, and leaves. So he goes to look for her because he's just very clueless. And that's when Irene ambushes him. She pushes him against a wall and kind of, I don't know how to, like, she spasms against him like a dead fish, like a dying fish. She flops against him against a wall like a dying fish, and he screams like he's in pain from this. And she demands Pootie Tang's secret, or she'll keep doing whatever this is. And he tries to hold out, and he lasts maybe about 10 seconds before he folds and tells her, well, Pootie Tang's power is kept in the belt. So, you know, horrible friend does a bad job at friending. We see Pootie talking to Biggie Shorty as another woman is just hanging off of Pootie. And Biggie's like, someday a woman's going to love you and leave you, and you're going to be a disaster, and I'm going to pick up your pieces. I'm going to pick up the scraps. And it's very ominous,
but very sweet at the same time.
Yeah, it's romantic in a way. Pootie leaves the party. Truckee's trying to look for him to essentially warn him, like, oh, hey, I just told some bitch all your secrets. But Pootie is ambushed by a guy with a knife, and this guy's very clearly on drugs or homeless, or he's both not right. He's holding a knife, and he's got like his knees buckled in. His whole stance is wrong. Uncle Iroh would have a field day with this guy. Pootie tries to tell him to back off, you know, gives him some space, but the guy approaches, so Pootie beats his ass, knocks him down. Truckee comes out the door, like, oh, Pootie, what's going on? Everything okay? The guy gets up with a gun and starts shooting at Pootie, who, as we know, cannot be hit by bullets. Dances, and he deflects some bullets with his belt buckle, but one ricochets off and hits this guy, and he goes down, and Pootie Tang is devastated. He thinks he's accidentally killed this man. He's acting like he's at the funeral of the love of his life. He's on top of this guy. He's pounding on his chest, yells, come back on the panty sty or something. And and the guy wakes up. It's framed that Pootie brought someone back to life. In the midst of all this chaos, Truckee forgot that he told Irene his weakness, and they just leave.
I just leave.
Biggie Shorty even tells us in a little like transition scene that's like, oh, he's just a dumbass.
Yeah.
Irene wastes no time because we see Pootie Tang at the grocery store the next day. She rams his cart with hers and pins him in the aisle and just starts making out with the side of his face. And we get a very trippy scene with like smoke over a candle to the tune of Poison. And yeah, it's very perfect. They're back at her place somehow. She hypnotically made love to him while traveling. And in doing so, she got him to sign the contract that corporate America wanted from Pootie Tang in the first place, and take his belt. And just immediately after this lovemaking, Dick Lecter busts into the room to gloat.
Yeah.
well, Pootie is just like acting trucked out of his mind. But this is his low point. Our hero has fallen. The news breaks. There's a news story that Pootie Tang has sold out. And we get people being interviewed in the street, disappointed that their hero has fallen. Some guy's talking about his kid's reaction.
Yeah.
And like his kid's like, I can't believe that. And starts bleeping out all these curses.
Yeah, I said it reminded me of my 11-year-old. Just like, how can he do that shit? I'm like, that would be him. Just like,
and you'd be like, whoa.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then like they're asking more people, right? And then like, doesn't it cut to like basically Shorty getting like,
yeah, we cut back to Bob Costas on the late night talk show interviewing Biggie Shorty about this downfall, and it's so confusing whether this is part of the movie or this is still part of the talk show. And Biggie Shorty is like, weren't you watching the fucking movie? He was drugged.
Yeah,
why are you acting?
like-
Because Bob's like, I can't believe Pootie sold out this way.
Yeah.
And she's like, didn't you watch what happened? They kind of argue, but right now she's really the only person that believes in him. He stumbles to her looking like a zombie. He's wandering the streets of Chicago. His pants are falling down because his belt is gone. He's just these baggy leather pants that are at his knees, and he's just seeing his boxer briefs. And as he walks by, people are swearing at him like, "Oh, you punk bitch!" Like,
yeah, and like,
very similar to what Anchorman did after Will Ferrell got up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think Anchorman took that from this?
Probably.
Maybe, yeah.
Like I said,
mean,
Pootie Tang was a classic. It's a classic. Very
right,
copied.
and it's a cult classic. Just because it didn't win awards and all of that, like people watch it,
but it's got a following.
Critics.
So I'm telling you, the way
does.
Nick described it, kind of like how Brad Pitt talks to Ed Norton about Fight Club. It's Pootie Tang.
This movie speaks to me, man.
I thought
it
like
should.
the zombie like ish scene though was really funny. It reminded me of The Walking, Shaun.
Oh, Shaun of the Dead.
The Walking Dead. The comedy.
All right. So he shambles over to Biggie Shorty, who is still dancing on the corner as she does, and she just takes a look at him and hugs him, and she's like, "That's all right. I'm gonna fix you up, and I'm gonna have sex with you too." We cut to her apartment, and she very clearly has, and Pootie has now decided, in what can I assume is post-nut clarity, that he has to leave Chicago. He needs to sort himself out, and Biggie basically says, "Well, I have a Biggie Bags. I can't say Biggie Shorty without thinking of the Wendy's Biggie Bags. I'm probably gonna cut that, but it's Jake, what's your take on Biggie Bags?
Biggie Macs, very good, very good. Haven't had one in a really. They're not as good as cheesy gordita crunches. I'll say that.
Oh, nothing beats a cheesy gordita crunch. As Pootie prepares to leave, we cut to Dirty D in jail. Froggy, his enforcer, his toady, basically, and he's always dressed in this lime green suit because he's Froggy.
His name's Froggy.
Yeah, it's great. He has snuck Dirty D in a little bit of like dirt in his pocket, which Dirty D rubs on his face. Is like, I hate it here. They make me shower every day. I'm Dirty D, damn it.
They won't let me stay dirty.
Yeah, they keep making him clean. But Froggy assures him that they're going to get him out. Corporate America is not done with Dirty D, and Dirty D sees himself as like this rival. He is the Sasuke to Pootie Tang's Naruto. I can't think of a more apt
comparison. Goku.
Vegeta to his Goku. Boston Red Sox to the New York Yankees. I did a sports one. Nice.
Did a sports ball reference.
I'm not very good with sports, so I'm kind of proud of myself for that one.
Pretty damn good at darts.
Hey, I get lucky.
That's what they all said.
Well, we cut to Pootie, who is getting on the bus, but Truckee stops him because he feels guilty. And at this point, Truckee's narration overlaps with what Truckee is saying to Pootie Tang at the moment.
Yes.
We get this like, oh, I felt so bad. And Truckee says to Pootie, I feel so bad, man. And he's like, I wanted to go to the farm with you. And Truckee asks, can I go to the farm with you? And they do this for like 6 lines. It gets more ridiculous. And Truckee does go to the farm for about a minute.
Yeah, it reminds me of like wanting to be outdoors and be with nature and like the sun and like I'm gonna put my toes in like the grass and then you see a bug and you're like nope nope, I'm going back inside.
Yeah. Truckee tried to like hoe the ground for a crop and immediately calls a taxi and goes home.
Yeah.
And he's yelling out the side of the taxi like, this ain't the thing. It's hot. It's hurt. It's dirty. A dog's barking and we don't know whose dog it is. Yelling excuses as he drives away. And Pootie's alone, but he takes it in stride. He doesn't seem that upset about the loss of Truckee.
Yeah, he's
What
just
a
like,
time.
all right.
What a time, man. What a time.
He's already hit rock bottom. This isn't that bad. So he restores the farm. We see him painting fences, fixing up an old car. Truckee narrates that this is rejuvenating for Pootie, and he gives a very bad definition of rejuvenation, is that he was juvenated before, lost it, and was juvenated again. Rejuvenated. Just I don't think is what the dictionary would say, but I like that better.
You also kind of miss the thing of like with Truckee, he's pretty stupid. Like,
yeah.
And Chris Rock's friend character with him, well, typically when it's the three like Pootie's like sidekicks all together, it's the three of them talking. Chris Rock will say something, and then in the dumbest way possible, Truckee will say like the same thing essentially.
No, Lacey.
No, yeah,
Lacey does that. No, that's Lacey. Lacey is just that third friend, and that's his only characterization, is that he repeats Chris Rock and pisses Chris Rock off.
And I hate you.
Yeah, I did miss that, but that's their dynamic. Is Truckee's dumb, Chris Rock is kind of normal, and Lacey can only repeat Chris Rock in a very rudimentary way, and they don't exist without Pootie. Back on the farm, Pootie has planted one corn stalk. One.
That's all you need is one.
You only need one. Yeah, it's just
the Highlander of corn.
It's just him. What does he need all that corn for? This is happiness. This is important. This is happiness for him. He's ecstatic about this. We see him gassing up the car at the one gas station in town. He meets the sheriff of the town, who is very... God, how would you describe this guy? He's a stereotypical Southern sheriff.
Yeah.
That's how I would describe him.
Oh. I want to say like Andy Griffith, maybe? But I think of something else.
Oh, Boss Hog. We use more Boss Hog.
Boss Hog. Yeah. Yeah, I could
and kind of like Boss Hog with a mix of the sheriff from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
All right, yeah, we'll go with that.
The way he tries to like creepily pass off his daughter onto him.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the next thing he does. He goes into the gas station where his daughter works. Her name is Stacy, and he tells her like, "Oh, new guy in town. Why don't you go marry him?" And she starts crying because that's their whole dynamic. But Pootie's a good guy. He introduces himself when he goes into the gas station. He kisses her hand. He can clearly tell this woman does not have a lot of self-esteem, and that's not something he can stand for. We cut to Dirty D, who is out of jail and filthy once more. All is right with the world. He is meeting with Dick Lecter, who says now that they own Pootie Tang's name, they have a Pootie Tang training tape. They're going to make their own Pootie Tang fast food chain, and they don't need the real Pootie anymore. So Dick gives Dirty D the belt, tells him Pootie's at the farm, tells him, go kill him. Go kill him.
Yeah, this is also where we have the cameo from David Cross, literally in like half blackface as Pootie Tang. So yeah, and I think like this movie gets a pass for it because it's not intended to be racist. This movie is not racist, so
no,
it's like anti-racist, right?
It's portrayed as completely ridiculous,
right? Like it's the premise behind it, not
Yeah. We cut back to Pootie's farmhouse. Stacy has brought Pootie Tang a pie, and we get the weirdest seduction technique I've ever seen, because she hands Pootie the pie, and he hands Pootie the pie. He sticks his hand in the pie top down, and just starts rubbing pie filling all over his neck and face. And
chest.
Go ahead.
Chest,
face,
yep, everywhere.
Yeah. And this is very much doing stuff for Stacy. Pootie throws the pie plate on the ground after he has rubbed the entire thing on himself, and says, "Baby, I'm a sign your pity on the runny kind," which I think counts as the movie's title drop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. She she not only makes love to him, she tackles him through a window.
Yep.
Yeah. And it like cuts to Piggy Shorty, and it's like, you know, this is her man, but instead of being upset, she's like, Pootie's a hero.
Yeah.
Like, he can't see a woman not loving herself, so he's gonna put the love in her. Like,
But then she's like, you know, I'll give him the pass for once, but he better not fix in her spirits again.
right. Yep.
Yeah, she's only going to buy this for so long. Truckee gives us some narration that without Pootie Tang, Chicago has gone to hell.
Chicago has gone to hell.
I said what I said. Pootie Tang was like the one block holding up Chicago on the Jenga Tower. We get more street interviews, and all those same people who were shit-talking Pootie Tang before now miss him. They want him back. They need him. And unfortunately, things aren't going so good on the farm either. We find that Pootie's cornstalk has died. I can only assume he was having sex when he was supposed to water it. That's the only thing that makes sense. I don't know how I
He
made
was fertilizing something else.
A planting his seed elsewhere. So he drops to his knees and sobs, and we get his vision. Pootie hallucinates, essentially. He hallucinates that his dad is the cornstalk. He sees Chris Rock with face paint to look like a stalk of corn, and his mom as a cow. And his parents come to him from the afterlife to say, or he hallucinates, that Daddy Tang did not ever teach Pootie to run from his problems. He has to face this head on. And Mommy Tang says that she's proud of her son and the love he gives because he can give it like a gift. Mom and Dad bicker a little, but Mom tells him,
shut your mouth, you corn ass fool.
yeah. But Mom tells him that he needs to teach the world right from wrong and love the world at the same time. And Daddy Tang imparts this crucial knowledge to Pootie that the belt was not special. He bought it at the Piggly Wiggly for 95 cents. And
power was within him the whole time.
Exactly. He had the goodness to kick ass in himself. So they send Pootie on his way. He has to save Chicago. And he gasses up his car to do that, but he runs into a roadblock because the sheriff has found out that Pootie defiled his daughter and is going to force him into a shotgun wedding, as he literally has his gun to Pootie's head. But who shows up? Dirty D. And the sheriff kind of foresees something going on here. He's like, we don't want no trouble in this town, which, you know, most stereotypical line you could give. But Froggy punches him and knocks him out. And we see that this angers Pootie Tang, which I guess speaks to him being the all-loving hero, because this guy literally just had a gun to his head, but Pootie's not standing for this. So Pootie knocks Froggy out with one punch, and he's approaching one punch Pootie. But as he's approaching Dirty D, we get the reveal of Dirty D wearing Pootie's belt, and Pootie hesitates just for a minute, but we get this Western-style showdown with like Old West music. We cut to back and forth point of views from like just behind one of them as they get closer to each other, to the point where they are face to face, nose to nose, and then they go through each other and they're behind each other. Yes. And Dirty D is very confused at how this happens. But Pootie kicks his ass. He punches behind him and then turns around and beats him up. And Dirty D takes off the belt and tries to hit Pootie with it, but he can't.
He just can't.
He can't. The belt will not betray Pootie, and it starts sizzling his hand, and the belt just flies off Dirty D and comes back to Pootie where it rightfully belongs. So Pootie wraps it around his fist and punches him with the belt buckle, and it's epic, and it's just, it brings a tear to your eye.
Not my eye, your eye maybe.
Mine, yes.
It ties the story together very well.
Yeah, it's a very good comeback moment after the hero has fallen. The sheriff gets up, and we think that maybe there's going to be an understanding. No, he still puts his gun to Pootie's nose and is like, oh, now you're going to marry my daughter. And we cut to an impromptu wedding in the middle of a farm with some farm people and some farm people. Pootie's wearing a top hat. He actually looks pretty spiffy. Truckee shows up in a car.
Yeah, Truckee's like, I was looking for him high and low. And then I remembered he was at the
a third establishing like Truckee's real dumb moment. And he's like, Chicago needs you. You got to come back. They're making you do these commercials. They're using your face when you're not even there. So Pootie puts the top hat on Truckee, gets in Truckee's car, and drives away, leaving Truckee at the wedding.
Yeah.
So they make Truckee marry the daughter after getting the gun pointed at him.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I think he comes around to it, not just because of the gun, but yeah, maybe.
Not spoilers, but yeah, things end up okay for him.
Spoilers, we're going the whole movie. Anyway.
We'll get there. We cut to Dick Lecter opening his first Pootie Bad Time Burger. We get David Cross pretending to be Pootie Tang once more, and people are watching this on TV. Chris Rock and other people are like, that's not Pootie Tang, that's Duty Tang, which, the poop joke always lands. Pootie arrives, and David Cross runs away in fear, but Dick Lecter summons an army of Pootie Tangs. They all come out of a car, like a clown car.
Yeah.
In
the restaurant.
So he sicks his army of Pooties on Pootie, but it's no use. Biggie Shorty shows up, and the two of them essentially fight this army of Pootie likes.
Yes.
Yeah. Eventually, they all run away. They are outmatched by the real Pootie. So Dick Lecter and Frank try and get in a car and drive away. But Wanda Sykes, Biggie Shorty, gets in a crane and drops the fast food sign on their car. And I was like, oh, holy shit, she killed them. But we see them, they're fine.
It's like Batman. They don't like to kill their enemies.
Right. All the horrible things Batman does to people, but they live. Pootie is spanking Dick Lecter with his belt as a reporter approaches and asks, Pootie, what's next for you? To which Biggie answers, oh, we're getting married. And Pootie's just like, yeah. And we kind of get a where are they now ending for each character. And it's kicked off by Biggie Shorty arriving to Irene's place and punching her in the face as Truckee narrates that she became a counselor for teen hoes for the city. Dick Lecter quit corporate America, became an actor. Dirty D is still dirty because he's Dirty D, damn it. Lacey is still getting on
JD's nerves.
Yeah.
And he's getting on his nerves
too. And last thing we see is that Truckee is still married to Stacy, and she's yelling at him because he burned the lasagna again.
Yeah.
And we cut back to the talk show with Pootie talking to Bob Costas, who says to him, that's the longest clip I've ever seen. And that's the movie. We get bloopers through the credits, and I miss when movies did bloopers.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is the movie. Jake, you are our guest. Tell us your overall thoughts on Pootie Tang.
Well, the other thing too is it kind of gives a little foreshadowing to the Marvel stuff because it says Pootie Tang will return in Pootie Tang 2, and I forgot what their little tagline for it was, but
oh yeah, they did.
Yeah, I mean, again, it just goes back to how I feel like it's just it's a movie of the times, like just one of those classic 80s, 90s movies that encapsulates that section of time, and you get a little foreshadowing, a little love, a little political activism. It's very wholesome, Dare-like values, very Smokey the Bear, kind of like Scruff McGruff.
If you had to rate it 1 out of 5, what would you give it out of 5 stars?
Give it a Wadata.
Perfect.
I'd give it a 5. It's perfect. I'd give it a 2 and a 5 at the same time because it's a bad movie that knows it's a bad movie, but there's just so many little things that you can relate to that it just pulls you in.
That's fair. Makaila, how would you rate Pootie Tang?
I mean, don't get mad because I do like the movie.
I won't get mad.
But I think I'd give it a 3 out of 5. But I love the casting. That's everybody in this movie is just so fucking funny. And that's part of what makes it. But I think also Pootie Tang is it's based off of a character that Chris Rock did. So the fact that it has a whole ass movie is kind of cool because that's probably hard to do. Yeah. I give it a 3 though.
Well, yeah, because there's a lot of movies that are based off Saturday Night Live sketch characters.
Yep. Yeah.
And they just expanded that character's lore and personality. I was like, oh, we'll put an hour and a half, 2 hours to it.
Right.
So the fact that they did this for a Chris Rock sketch show character was a bold swing.
Yeah.
And didn't necessarily work out the best. But
I think cult classics, if you can get your movie to that status, that's what more could you ask? That's gonna last a lot longer than I forget some movies that win Oscars.
Yeah.
But I can name 30 cult classics. Like, yeah.
That's fair. And we've now reviewed 2 Oscar stinkers, so
From 1 year.
from 1 year, same year.
That's the thing. Oscar movies just like typically suck nowadays.
Yeah. Did you hear? They don't like up until like next year, they didn't even have to watch the whole movie.
How does that even make sense?
Right?
Right? How are you going to give a movie an award if you didn't watch it? For those who aren't watching video, he's speechless.
What about you? Your favorite movie? What do you
My
rate
favorite
it?
movie, I mean, I can't
A
there's
1, right?
I mean, I will be a true journalist and stick to our rating scale
Journalist. Okay.
and give it 5 out of 5. I won't break my scale, but like to me, and okay, I hype this movie up. I know it's a bad movie. I know, but everyone in the movie knew what type of movie they were making, and they had fun with it, and they were just like, fine, this is going to be the silliest goddamn movie we can make. And to me it works, and I've seen this movie 100 times, and I always laugh, I always enjoy myself. I could like this could be my comfort movie.
It's your
Like,
litmus test.
it was my it was my relationship litmus test, and you passed.
Yeah.
But I also feel like everybody has a Pootie Tang. Like everybody has that movie.
It says you're muted, but I can hear you a little bit. This might be our cue to end the episode because you're losing your audio. All right. Well, I think this wraps up this week's episode. I want to extend a special thanks to my buddy Jake for joining us.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, join us in 2 weeks. We will review the musical Rent. So
You won't want to miss it.
you won't want to miss it because we're going to argue about it. All right, everybody. Have a great week. Bye.